Behind the scenes of Friends tapings, there were some major misses that had the live audience roaring for all the wrong reasons, as the cast fumbled with their lines, took occasional potshots at each other, and simply could not stop cackling about any of it. What do we smell? In the Season 4 episode, the one with Rachel's crush, it's Monica Geller's fresh-baked cookies that entice all her friends to come across the hall. Before the scene could play out as fans remember, though, there were a few takes that didn't quite make it. The cast and crew had Matt LeBlanc to thank for bringing a bit of toilet humor to the mix, responding to Lisa Kudrow's line, "What do I smell?" with a coy ad-lib.
What do I smell?
Sorry.
Needless to say, that wasn't in the script. This little ad-lib ended up wasting a lot of time as LeBlanc and co-star David Schwimmer simply couldn't get past his one-line fart joke to finish out the scene.
What do I smell?
LeBlanc! Eventually, they managed to collect themselves for long enough to make it through the scene, but it took a few tries, including one where they got so close.
What do I smell?
I don't know. It smells good.
Ross didn't live with Joey and Chandler for long, but he wore out his welcome pretty quickly thanks to that air purifier, his obnoxious hand gestures, and the many, many boxes of stuff he left scattered across their living room. The latter does prove to be a boon for the boys in Season 5's The One Where Ross Moves In, once Joey realizes he can build a fort with Ross's stuff.
So why don't you be a grown-up and come and watch some TV in the fort?
In the closing scene, Chandler comes home to find them playing cowboys and Indians in an innocent, if culturally insensitive, moment. The blooper reel version, though, now that was some racy stuff.
What are you guys doing? Nothing.
Friends fans have often wondered why Ross saw so little of his son Ben throughout the series, but perhaps this blooper reel can shed some light on that creative decision. In The One Where Old Yeller Dies, Ross is frustrated by how many firsts he's been missing in the boy's life, and he wants to witness at least one of those major milestones for himself. To that end, Ross tries to coax the toddler into saying his very first word during his visit. As Ross takes Ben to see Rachel at the coffee shop, he tries to talk Baby into saying "Dada" to no avail.
Can you say Dada?
Oh.
Look, I'm gonna tell your mommies you said it anyway, so you might as well try.
No luck, huh?
No.
For a couple of takes, however, the tiny actor portraying Ben didn't quite stick to the script.
You know, you might as well say it because I told you.
The good news is that Baby is growing up to be sharp as a tack. The bad news is it's the last thing the writers of this episode wanted to happen.
Your mommies you said it anyway, so you might as well try. Huh? Yeah, he's saying Dada.
Who knew Matthew Perry had such a penchant for crappy jokes? There were several instances on Friends when Chandler would emerge from the bathroom for one reason or another, and as the blooper reels reveal, a lot of times the actor went off script to make jokes about what he was doing in there.
You girls got a measuring tape?
Eventually, Courtney Cox decided to play along, and the results were pretty great. While filming a scene for The One with the Nap Partners in which Monica confronts Chandler for breaking up with a girl over her weight, he was scripted to be bothered by her knock at the bathroom door. Instead, he took another approach.
Honey, you gotta see this. This is like the size of my arm.
Cell phones have been ruining takes since they could fit in people's pockets, but at least the results are often funny. During production on The One with Joey's New Brain, Jennifer Aniston got a legitimate call on her cell phone while she and Lisa Kudrow were filming a fight about a different cell phone. To quote Phoebe, "What are the chances?"
Well, somebody's actually here. Hi! Let me call you right back. I'm doing a scene.
That wasn't the only cellular mishap on the series, though. Aniston was also the recipient of another unexpected dial-in while taping her birthday scene on the set of The One Where They All Turned 30, which just goes to show that she was, as widely reported, very popular during her time on the show.
Better to be over the hill.
It comes with a phone.
Sometimes a blooper isn't an accident. Sometimes it's a prank. In The One with the Secret Closet, Joey has to take a pregnant Rachel to the hospital after she begins experiencing Braxton Hicks contractions. Ross shows up late, complaining about the distance between himself and his baby's mother-to-be. Schwimmer had a hard time hitting his cues for the scene, though, so Matt LeBlanc and Jennifer Aniston decided to pull a prank on him. After Schwimmer missed his mark and had to go back out of frame to try again, the two decided to hide and let him walk into an empty room just to see what he'd do. Later, when he forgot his line during a take, Aniston playfully laid into him for bringing the whole gang down.
And at the movie theater.
You just suck. What happened to you? You used to be able to act.
I know.
Remember Joey's disastrous noodle soup commercial audition with the kid who was a more competent actor than him?
Soup. I mean noodle soup. I mean soup.
Well, life imitated art in that regard because Cole Sprouse, who portrayed Ben in the later seasons of the show, seemed to be the only one who'd memorized the script. While shooting a scene with Jennifer Aniston for the one with the truth about London, for example, Sprouse confidently fed her the missing line when she forgot what to say.
Now, what is my first line?
What did we agree?
Okay.
Then when he shared the screen with David Schwimmer for a scene in the one with the holiday armadillo, Sprouse had to again remind his co-star of what to say next.
You're punch.
Oh, yeah.
So don't take any clue. All right, we'll go back
I know all of his lines.
All right, let's go back.
Chandler and Monica's storyline in the one where Ross meets Elizabeth's dad is kind of a throwaway. The two have a silly misunderstanding over what time they're supposed to meet up for a mini-date, and their snafu becomes fodder for Phoebe's next book chapter. Their argument doesn't make many Friends fans' lists of best moments, of course, but perhaps it would have if it had gone down the way it did in the bloopers.
Chandler, we said we would meet at the coffee house at 6.
We said 7, you dumb bag.
Of all the cast members who were paired for two-person scenes throughout Friends, Lisa Kudrow and David Schwimmer had to be among the most entertaining. Phoebe is never afraid to call Ross on his worst decisions, and since she seems to be the one woman in his life who is neither a relative nor an ex, she's often his go-to friend for unbiased advice. The two also get into a lot of weird situations together, including the time that they each date half of a divorcing couple and start bickering with each other in the one with the engagement picture. As their arguments started to mimic the separated couple, David Schwimmer and Lisa Kudrow had a lot of trouble keeping it together and finishing their scenes.
And she uses sex as a weapon.
Fine.
Things got so out of hand that Schwimmer suggested shooting the scene line by line, which Kudrow seemed game for. Apparently, it had worked out pretty well for her before.
We'll just do the same one line at a time.
Did that once.
Oh, did you?
I got an Emmy.
As friends, Joey and Chandler definitely find comfort in each other. They're known to hug so often that they eventually have to ask themselves if it's getting out of hand in the season 6 episode, the one with the mac and cheese. During shooting, all of the repeated hugs and back rubs started to get under their skin.
While we're here, anything else?
Get off me.
Then, things really went off the rails when the Matts decided to lean into the discomfort of prolonged physical contact.
What's that in your pocket?
After so many seasons of bringing the Friends cast to life, the actors started to know their characters all too well. While filming a scene for the season 8 episode, the one with the birthing video, David Schwimmer realized mid-line just how much of a dope his character was for letting his pregnant ex-wife move in with him while he had a new girlfriend, and neither he nor Lisa Kudrow could stop laughing about it.
I knew it! I knew I wasn't crazy!
For a while, all the actor can seem to do is sit there and think about Ross's bad decisions. Eventually, Kudrow has to ask him if he's really so surprised.
All right, ready.
Have you ever seen the show?
Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more Looper videos about your favorite movies and TV shows are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.